Hi, welcome, welcome. This is Watercooler Thoughts Show. This is where I'm going to talk about tech and gaming, news, and topics that I can have moderately informed opinion on. If not, someone will let me know, but let's just roll with that. Well then, let's jump right into it. So for the first one today is the new? Yes, it is new. It's New World, and it's open beta, and it's already sparked up some controversy, which is to do with its PvP scaling, and people don't like it. Or even the people don't like the lack of it. This is one of the examples where someone says, oh, I used to be able to kill max level when I was level 10. A little bit sus. And then we have another one here, which is a big discussion on no, PvP, you don't need to work your way up. It should be just a PvP. And, well, I don't think that's really correct. I mean, at the end of the game, at the end of the day, Old World is an MMORPG, and I think level progression, character progression is an inherent part of it. Just to counter this a little bit more in depth, a lot of people are expecting is for your stats to be synced up between the levels when you engage in PvP. So this way, it will prevent so-called seal clubbing, or if you don't know what it means, just someone who's high level rolls into the low B zone and just one hit kills everyone. There are ways to deal with it, and I don't think doing scaling is the way to do it. The issue is this is an RPG game. So let's take, for example, Skyrim. This is the game a lot of you are familiar with, I'm assuming, because it's been released on everything, your fridge, smartwatch. I think they even exist in the dog collar. I'll ask my dogs. So that has extensive level scaling. So you start the game, you are level 1 peasant, or whatever you are, Nord warrior. You want to be a Viking. Let's just go with it is, a Viking. You come out, you see a wolf, and it's a little bit scary. You know, you hit him 5 times or so, and the wolf dies. The wolf did some damage to you, but it's okay. There's a little bit of a challenge, you know, keeps you on your toes. And that's fine. You go through the game, and what should happen is you level up. You become the coolest Viking in the world. You know, you shout at dragons, you kick their ass. And then you go back to that starting area, and you see a wolf, and your immediate reaction is, it's a wolf. However, what actually the game does, the wolf is now slightly reshaded. It has a color. You know what that means? It means it's been level scaled, and now it's going to take you 5 bloody hits of your nuclear missile sword to destroy it. What is the bloody point of that? Why level? Why do anything? It really destroys the feeling of progression. I really dislike level scaling systems. The issue people really want to deal with this here is not participation in PvP. You have to learn the game. It's an MMO game. You want to earn your whatever. You want to earn your gear. You need to level up to unlock your skills. You don't want to go into PvP with just one skill. What are you going to do? Oh, let me do my normal left click attack on you. Very exciting. No, you want to unlock your skills. I know it's not that many when we talk about Open New World. It's only about 3. But still, you want to unlock them, you want to upgrade them, you know. So, for example, if you use a gauntlet, you want to be able to have some AoE control. AoE control? God, I'm dumb. Crowd control. So, the expectation here is for you to level. I don't think anyone really wants you to be level 1 and fight with level 60s. I mean, first of all, the level 60 invested his time in a game, regardless of whether you want to argue if that person is a sweaty nerd and he hasn't slept in 48 hours since the release of the game. That's their choice. If I want to spend 48 hours of my life non-stop grinding out levels, I bloody well hope so to be rewarded for it, because I'm sacrificing my health over here. This Monster energy drinks, they're not gonna go unaffected. This is extra caffeine I just don't usually take. There are other ways to deal with this though, and I think the other ways is what people should really look for. This is a social game. At the end of the day, what needs to be, you need to have a facility where a group of lobbies they can gang up on someone who is doing that. So for example, there's only 3 skills. So introduce long cooldowns on area of effect damage skills, on anything that can one-hit a person. Just add big cooldowns on it. What that means is your 5 level 5 players can now gang up on you. And sure, they might have their, completely newbie stagger skills, but, between 5 of them, if they coordinate, they can take you down. And I think another thing that needs to be kept in mind is for some balancing is to make sure that you cannot completely resist the attacks. They should still be able to hit you for some amount of damage. Not full damage, absolutely. But for example, if you have something like physical damage resist on your, I don't know, on your pants, plus 10%. Then if you have another gear item, for example, gloves, another plus 10%, what you could do as a general mechanic is you would just say, oh, it's a stacking effect. So actually, we will take less and less of the benefit from those stacked items. And this way you will never really reach 100%. And wow, now lobbies can do damage to high levels, and it doesn't break the game in terms of some mandatory level sync or something else, which is completely dumb. Another things are more social punishments you could do for players who grief lobbies. You could say, oh, well, if you killed X amount of newbies or people who are, I don't know, for example, 10 levels below you, you are now classed as a, I don't know, an outlaw. You can't come into the big NPC towns, the guards will chase you out. You can't engage in auction house. Things like that. This will be enough to deter majority of people who want to grief. Sure, there will be some players whose gameplay is griefing other people, and that will not deter them, but they're not going to be that many, and they're not going to be that organized. So, again, and this cycles right back to give lobbies some facility to fight back, but don't level sync. This actually has prompted a big discussion on in a guild chat for us for New World, because we are planning to play this on release. So I'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. But we did have a big old discussion, and people do have different opinions. There are definitely better ways to deal than level sync. Jesus Christ, Amazon, don't level sync. What the hell? Come on. Yeah, I'm sure you have game designers. Don't be lazy. Well, this is actually how I want to end this. Mandatory level syncs, or just scaling, is a lazy cop-out. This is what you do when you either don't pay your game designers enough, or you don't give them enough time to work on a problem and work on a solution. That's what happens. Don't go full Bethesda. Never go full Bethesda. For the next news, this one's not going to be gaming related. This is a dreaded Windows 11 update. Normal human being, I wake up in the morning and I don't go to Reddit. No, but I wanted this to have this as a backdrop to some of what I want to talk about. There's been some stuff. Oh, yeah, here we go. TPM. So there's been some cry out about them adding new security requirements and locking down and saying, oh, we only want to support this CPUs, and people have been upset about it. I can understand people being upset about it, but then again, if you have an old CPU, Windows 10 works for another, 4 years, and probably more. Windows is a giant sink of compatibility streams on top of compatibility streams. For example, you can run applications from Windows 2000. Yes, you can. You can run applications from Windows 98 and 95. And you don't need to be really clever to run DOS applications either. And that's why it's a bit more what people like to refer to as bloated. That's why bloated mess. There's lots of businesses who rely on old software. It's been written once. From business perspective, you don't want to write the same thing twice. It works, why change? So Microsoft, in their infinite wisdom, supports it. There can be arguments made whether that's good or bad, but I think this is how the world is at the moment, and they do support it. Personally, I think that's a good thing. You write something once, even like a tool for yourself if you're a developer, and you expect it to work on the new versions of Windows without any really effort. And that's what usually happens, and I think that's great, and that's definitely takes a lot of effort for them to do. I think what they want to do with this is they want to limit the hardware they support so they can test less. I think that's why. I'm sure their QA department's probably crying if they need to test things on on ancient machines. And they will be slow, even for doing basic things. I have a laptop that's not super old. You try to do anything more than open one YouTube video on it, you'll be surprised. We do a lot of stuff on the web now, and the web is really heavy these days. Then you have all your fancy animations, fancy interactive websites. That takes a lot of processing power, so that's why. So this is in terms of the new hardware requirements. I don't think people should really have that much of an issue with them, unless you have a really old machine, but then you wouldn't really want to run Windows XP. You probably want to run Linux if your computer is really old, because then you can really cut it down. Another big thing is the taskbar. And the taskbar is something I have been a bit upset about. And it's kind of petty, but at the same time, this really breaks some of the workflow. This is really going to be for power users. Let me just end this sort of, if you're an average desktop user, computer user, and you use a computer to do some document work, do some emails. Right? Am I right? God, what a boomer. You go on Twitter, you go on Twitch, you go on YouTube. Yeah, it's perfectly fine for that. And I think people will find it's actually a little bit snappier. Whether that's actual optimizations or it's just animations, I'm not sure, but it definitely is a little bit snappier. I can confirm it on my hardware at least. But in terms of some of the more power user features, god damn it, Microsoft, this is going to be a, well, tick version of Windows, the one no one likes, isn't it? So I appreciate what they're trying to do. They want to rewrite the taskbar, which has been in Windows since first version of Windows. However, what they have also done is they depreciated a lot of functionality. To give an example of what I actually use is I have two screens. One is 4K and another one is 1080p. Let's go with that. So my 4K is my designated main screen in Windows. So this is where applications will open. This is where games will source their resolution dropdowns from. And that's all fine and dandy on Windows 10 because I can drag the taskbar to my off screen and everything's right in the world. You can't do that in Windows 11. The taskbar only exists on your main screen or on both. God damn it, that's annoying. So what this means is even for other applications, not necessarily for games. For example, if you do remote work and you want to, and you use your main screen to remote into your work computer, again, your taskbar now insists on sitting on the same screen. That's not really nice, So you want to use your computer as well. You want to use your browser. You might want to do some stuff, open up some applications there. It gets unwieldy. Let's just go with that. And there's other things. Personally, I find the new taskbar less readable in terms of notifications and progress bars, but that's subjective. In general, design-wise, it looks nice. It's quite sleek. I see what Microsoft's going for. They're going for this simplicity approach. They want things to be slick, smooth, and quick. And that's, yeah, for average person, that's going to be nice. For power users, there is work to do. I would not recommend it as a power user. If you're a heavy multi-screen user, there are some concerns. Your mileage may vary. I would say give them maybe half a year after the initial release to see what they will tidy up. I think they might actually tidy it up. I hope. Otherwise, we're going to have to do things like this. This is sorry, that's what I meant to show. There is this application start is back, and that basically brings Windows 10 taskbar into Windows 11. So this is a screenshot of someone using it. They actually restyled their whole start menu completely. This application does allow you to then drag the taskbar around, put it on left, right, top, bottom, whatever screen. So it is a workaround. It's not really something that will be supported by Microsoft, and I'm sure they will break it at some point. So it's nice that it exists, but I wouldn't bank on it completely. It might break. But for now, it works, so yeah, this might satisfy you. In general, I'd say we're getting there. I mean, we might have to wait until Windows 12 to be completely happy, but that's normal for Microsoft. That's fairly normal. And as a last news, well, not really news, but it's a kind of a bonus thing I wanted to cover, is a release of a new update for No Man's Sky. Yoink! I haven't actually played this new update yet, so I'll go off on what I've read and how I understand it. But it sounds really good. So in this new update, they've added living settlements to the game. So now the planets will have settlements, and they have economy systems. You can participate in them, you can join them, and you can work up even a way to sort of be a mayor. You can build buildings. You can see in the screenshots there's bars now and things like that, NPCs interacting. They have added base building a while ago, but this is really, and they're actually mentioning it here. There's a big overhaul, so I haven't seen that yet, but that sounds quite good. I hope they tidy up the UI a little bit, because the UI was slightly unwieldy. But it sounds like you will be able to interact with those cities, build them up. That sounds really nice. If you can have a proper settlement, it's almost like a city building game at this point. You can influence it, you can influence what cities' settlements are doing. I think this is really nice. Actually, this brings us right around back to New World. I think what New World needs to do, they need to really, I think they really need to lean on their colonization theme and allow players a bit more influence over the towns. I know there is already some. You gain reputation with cities, but I haven't really noticed cities changing. And I think this is what they could, and probably they should, in my opinion, is the lean on that and do something like this. Take it from No Man's Sky developers. No Man's Sky developers are, I would say, they're the gold standard developers for when you fuck shit up and you really go above and beyond to fix it. Honestly, I was one of the people who really hated the game in the release, but now it's a goddamn fine game. I can easily recommend it. Jeez, if you like exploring games, building games, play No Man's Sky. It's fantastic. The amount of hours you can sink in it is huge. It's huge, and there's a lot to do. They've added a lot. You can play it with your friends now. There's co-op. There's base building. There's stories a bit more fleshed out. It's really good. Sorry, I'm jumping the topics, but yeah, back to New World. I think they should lean into the colonization theme. Add some more player, not really crafting, but do like farming. I think what they could do is have something overarching, something all players can work to. I believe Elite Dangerous does something like this. They keep a track of what players are doing, and they have community goals, and then they shape the world of the game. So they add new outposts, they add new stations. This would be really exciting thing in the New World. That's what they should take. I don't know on how much they can grow their map, if they can make it bigger. But I think the community goals, and actually community goals that are tangible and you can see in the game world, this is something that would be really nice. It's persistent, and the game grows with the players, and it also grows how the players kind of want as a big hive mind thing, not just the developers. Developers obviously will do their thing with the story and everything else. But I think this gives a community a nice direction, and this is what MMOs are. They're all about a community. You need tools and facilities to grow the community in those games, and something to really, really let them sink their teeth into. And community goals are one of those things. This is the end of the Watercooler show. Thank you all for watching. If you did find the topics interesting or not, do come again, because I will be covering something else. And if you want to help me improve, tell me what I've done good, what I've done bad. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to leave me a comment. If you're listening to this in a podcast form, reach out on Twitter. Or, well, if you use YouTube, leave a comment on YouTube. I don't mind, whatever. I hope to do this bi-weekly. And so I will see you again in the next one. See ya!